Focus Prayer Family. Throughout the week, I am reminded often to remember whoever our prayer family is for the week. And this week it's Steve and Kathy, so please lift them up. And if some of you feel compelled, ask them what you can pray for them. I'm sure they'd love to tell you. And hopefully they won't keep you for an hour after church, but I'm sure that, everybody has a list of things. And always we need to be lifting each other in prayer. It was so amazing. 2 weeks ago, I went to the church mailbox, and there were 3 pieces of mail. Well, 4. One was a piece of junk mail that I left there. But there were 3 pieces of mail. One was a bill. It's one of those things that has to come. But 2 were thank you letters. How often do you go to your mailbox and get double the thank you and encouragement notes than you do bills? Pretty cool, huh? So I just want to highlight some different things. This is from our community food bank, from our garden, Dear Church of God. Thank you for donating a lot of garden produce to the community food pantry. Your donation is a great help and will be used to help serve many who come to the pantry. We appreciate your support. Sincerely, the community food pantry. And then several of us did the crop walk not that long ago. Remember that rainy kind of first cold day of the year? Yeah, we walked around town. And it was pretty amazing. There was, 9 of us, something like that, from the church, all the way from, is she 4? Okay, 4 years old, all the way to, we're not going to tell you. And we had a great time. And there were 88 walkers in Plymouth, 27 walkers in Bremen, and all together, what was raised was $7,173.61 with just 115 walkers. Isn't that amazing? And this money, part of it is going to stay right here in our county and go to help the hungry and all different ministries. But also, as we watch the news and we see that we have refugees all over the world, part of this money goes to drop food to missionaries where they don't have much food and they're in danger. So just amazing stuff I wanted to share with you, some of the opportunities we've taken advantage of. All right, today. I look forward to sharing this story for a long time since the series began, because this is when I was in school, in college, this was one of the classes, one of the opportunities I took in my junior and senior years. You could take classes in conjunction with the seminary, and there were seminarians and the wannabes is what we call ourselves, and the undergrads, and we would meet together, and then the seminarians were assigned a group, and they had to help us undergraduate people get to become a graduate. And so this is one of the stories that I studied in the class I took. And I just love this story. We can't not read it. So today, there's going to be a lot of scripture read, but I want you to pay attention as I'm reading scripture, seeking what the Spirit is telling you through the story. We're going to tell the stories of Naaman and Gehazi today. And we're going to start it off at 2 Kings chapter 5. The king of Aram had great admiration for Naaman, the commander of his army, because through him the Lord had given Aram great victories. But through Naaman was a great warrior, mighty warrior. He suffered with leprosy. Now, just a couple of things I want to highlight. This is an Old Testament scripture, so a lot of the Old Testament talks mainly about the Israelites, God's chosen people, and how he wants to have covenant with them and bless them, and they need to behave and do all those things. Naaman is not a Hebrew. He's somebody else. You can do the study, you can find out more. But here's what's important just within this passage right here is a whole sermon, but we're going to go on. He is respected because he is a man of great character. It's the only time we hear the story, so we know what we see right here, he's respected. But he suffered with leprosy. Now, we don't hear much about leprosy, even though it still exists. But this would be kind of like the outbreak that, or the scare that Ebola is causing us right now. Here's what's happening. Leprosy was a contagious skin disease that was feared in the time of Bible history. And it was feared because it was very, very, very contagious. In fact, most of the people who had it were forced to live outside of the cities. The forms were fatal. Many of the forms of it were fatal. And they were forced to live outside of the citadel, which was the gate of the fortified cities. They'd have to find a place to live. Mostly Picking back up. At this time, the Aramean raiders had invaded the land of Israel, and among their captives was a young girl who had been given to Naaman's wife as a maid. Let me pause. Child human trafficking in the Old Testament, right here. A child is taken from her family and given to the king as a maid. One day, the girl said to her mistress, "I wish my master would go to see the prophet in Samaria. He would heal him of leprosy." Hopefully, this shows us that this young girl was treated well, and she respected the people she worked for because she was given this advice. Go, he can heal her. Now, I want you to look. I want you to not miss this. I want you to pay attention. A child offers the answer. Back then, what were women and children? Property, not important, cast aside, not considered. And here, a child is used by God to offer the answer. The most important adult doesn't want to help. Pay attention to this. So Naaman told the king what the young girl from Israel had said. "Go and visit the prophet," the king of Aram told him. "I will send a letter of introduction for you to take to the king of Israel." So Naaman started out carrying his gifts, 750 pounds of silver, 150 pounds of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. The letter to the king of Israel said, "With this letter I present my servant Naaman. I want you to heal him of his leprosy." When the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes in dismay. Pause. That means he was grieving, he was angry, he was frustrated. That's what that means. He said, "This man sends me a leper to heal. Am I God? Can I give life and take it away? I can see that he's just trying to pick a fight with me." But when Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes in dismay, he sent this message to him. "Why are you so upset? Send Naaman to me, and he will learn that there is a true prophet here in Israel." Wow. Wow. A plea is requested, and the important adult, the king, acts like a spoiled child. Isn't that sad? The person who is the richest in the land, the person who has the most, who could give the most, acts like a child. "I don't want to." Basically, that's what he said. So Elisha, God's prophet, intervenes. Picking back up. So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and waited at the door of Elisha's house. But Elisha sent a messenger out to him with a message. "Go and wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan River. Then your skin will be restored, and you will be healed of leprosy." Now, if this was told to you, what would you do?